Hello fellow cross-stitch fanatics, or at least all 31 of you that watched my previous video, but I mean, hey, I'm kind of jazzed that 31 people watched my video actually. You know, it's not about the views, it's about just basically getting to talk to some people about this thing that I like. So as you can see from all of this, yeah, I might have started a few things since last time. So I'll try and go through that in no particular order. This has kind of been my lockdown sanity saving thing. So I am in no way gonna say that I feel bad about this at all, because I like having a lot of projects and I love them all. They're really pretty, makes me feel good when I work on them, when I look at them. So yeah, it's a cool thing. Although it is kind of an armful. So let's try and go through this. I do, however, have a finish, which is kind of exciting because I don't often finish things, and kind of why I haven't done another one for a while, because I wanted to have a finish to show. But this is Entrails. So I'll post the link to where you can get this down below. It is one of my favourite things I've ever finished. It's a present for a friend, so I'm not keeping it, alas, because I do kind of resonate with this as well. When I want your opinion, I'll read it in your entrails. But yeah, this was super fun. I really enjoyed it. It took me a lot longer than by all accounts it should have, seeing as it's not a particularly complicated design. I mean, there was some black work in there that I really enjoyed. I really liked doing all of this. I changed the colour a little bit from what it was in the pattern. I love how fancy this font is, this writing. I mean, you should always be fancy when you're threatening someone, right? And I love this big black raven or crow, or yeah, whatever it is. So yeah, overall, 5 stars, really enjoyed, would recommend. Really excited to give this to my friend. I'm going to put it in a frame. I did think about making it into like a cushion or a little pillow or something, but I would have to get things in order to do that, like stuffing or a cushion pad, and we have a few frames that we don't really need, of sort of pictures that have accumulated, so I'm just going to use one of them. And she just moved house, so I think that's quite a nice housewarming present. So there you go, that's Entrails. So I finished one thing, and I may have started significantly more. So let's go through things that I already had on the go first. So the first one that comes to hand is this. So this is The Old Melody by Mereshka, and this is what it will look like when it is finished, which is just gloriously strange. I absolutely love it. This weird little cat, he looks very wise, very all-knowing. And this gorgeous little town just sitting in the branches of the tree. So yeah, I love it. I don't know, it seems a bit Christmassy, but then just kind of general, I guess, general winter feels. And it is getting a bit autumnal now, so, or at least it is here in southern UK, so yeah. I have not worked on this one for a while, but I did get in, since last time I filmed, this little bird. Oh, so lovely. This little, don't know what it is, a bluebird or something. Anyway, it's very cute. It's in a little nest. It's made a nest in the hat of this cat, which I think is very generous of the cat. I'm not sure I could be so free with my headwear if I were to possess such a glorious hat as this cat does. But yeah, he's got a little cohabiting bird in there. And I got some back stitching in, which always makes things amazing, especially with, I really like the style of the Eastern European patterns and kits that they often have, which is this kind of hand-drawn style that the back stitching really brings out. So yeah, I'm loving that one. Kind of want to go back to it now. I think I will. Let's see what else I can pull out of the big pile. This, which is so big that I have to fold it over when I roll it up. I keep all of my whips rolled up like this because I think it puts less creases in the material. And especially with things like linen, which this is linen, it's 100% linen, so that kind of fibre, if you fold it too often, it can, kind of like paper, it can weaken the fibres in that spot. So I try not to do that if I can, because it is a natural fibre, it's a plant fibre, like paper. So here we go, this is my Death by Cross Stitch, and I've managed to get quite a bit of progress on this one, even though that doesn't really amount to much considering how gigantic this design is. I mean, you saw the size of the fabric, even on 40 count. This is 40 count linen. It's the first time I worked on 40 count, and it's actually not as difficult as I thought. So yeah, that's the whole thing. I've started on this alphabet here, which I love. I think I said last time, when I do this, it makes me feel like a Victorian schoolgirl just working on her sampler. And I have been listening to some audiobooks, some Jane Austen, while doing this, so kind of adds to the effect. But yeah, I am absolutely loving this. It's really pretty. It's on, 40 count natural linen. I'm using silk, a whole hank or skein of red silk, which I got from this lady on Etsy. It's a shop in Spain, which is the first time I've worked with silk, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it just goes through like butter. It's so soft to the touch. It's absolutely beautiful to work with. So I'm loving this one, and it's got this subtle variegation in it, which maybe you can see if I bring that up close. I decided to try it overhead shot today behind the camera because A, I feel a bit gross, and B, I feel like you can get more detail in closer to the camera and I can get it to focus easier. Plus you don't have me peering like a short-sighted gremlin from the back of my project every time. I mean, I am short-sighted and I kind of am a gremlin, but you know, you don't need to be reminded of that every time I put a project up to the camera. So that's my Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers, and I will probably be about 65 before I finish it. But I am all about the journey. and not so much about the finished object, which I kind of have to be given the speed that I work at. I did do a little bit on my water lily pond. So, water lily pond by Monet, shorted by the MC for the National Gallery. It's really pretty. Actually, there's a better representation on the back of this. And not very much progress at all, but some. There has been some progress. And I like the colours on this. I think his kind of designs, like Monet paintings, lend themselves very well to cross stitch because of the kind of impressionistic, slightly blurry effect that they have anyway. So, I've not worked on that one for a while either. Right, let's see, what do we have here? And that's a new one, that's a new one. Way too many new things. That's also a new one. And so is that. Right. I did a little on my vintage roses, but not for a long time. Need to get back to that. Actually, that's coming up next. I'm trying out a little rotation thing because I've got to the point where I've started a lot of things this year because this is the year that I got back into cross stitch. And it's getting to the point where if I don't have some kind of a rotation, I kind of forget about things and I forget how long it's been since I worked on something, and which is a shame because obviously I love everything that I'm doing. So this is absolutely gorgeous. I love the shading on it, colours, yeah. Very pretty. And I started a little back stitching because I don't know, I just like to do that. It's nice to fully finish an area, and yeah, it's nice to just get a bit of definition and see what it's going to look like. So yeah, really enjoying that one. There's lots more kits from this company that I want to do, but trying to start to limit myself a little bit now because I do also, I don't want to have too much at once, you know. You can have too much of a good thing, perhaps. So that's another Marashka. I've done a tiny little bit on my Hade, which is the key. I have forgotten the artist's name now, but I will put a picture of it in, just here. So I've just started parking on this. I've seen a few people do the kind of diagonals method, and that seems to work because I stopped with this for a bit because I got a bit overwhelmed with where do I go next? What am I doing? I have no idea. So I like that because I can focus on sort of one block at a time, but it seems to be better for not getting those lines and stuff. So, where did you come from? Yeah, that is working a lot better. I thought I would be overwhelmed with the amount of threads, but there's not too many, at least at the moment. And I'm just getting into the key at the top and the little leaves around it coming out. So it's nice that you can kind of see already what it's turning out to be. Although it still doesn't look like much yet, but who knows, maybe one day it will look like something. And another thing that got me back to this is, there's so many colours, there's 90 colours in this. And this isn't my hair, I wish it was. I've always wanted to have multicoloured hair. But I got one of these, they're called jailer's rings, which kind of makes me seem like, I don't know, the jailer on an 18th century Caribbean island where I look up pirates, but they're super useful for keeping threads on. So I just use like old cereal packets and things to make these punch out holes, and just, yeah, hitch them on. And then I can pull the threads out with a needle one at a time. And they're all in order of, you know, number. So that's a lot easier for me to get my head around. And they're a lot more easily accessible. So they're not just everywhere now. And it's a lot easier for me to actually work on this. So who knows, maybe I will. Is that... Oh, that is not quite everything I've worked on. There is one more. And this is my Celtic Autumn by Lavender and Lace. Now, I'm not going to take her off the scroll rods because this is quite an old scroll frame. I've had it for about at least 10 years, possibly more, since I was cross-stitching the first time. And it's one of the old-fashioned ones. I got it second-hand somewhere, which means that instead of having like Velcro or clips, it has this canvas stapled to the rods, and you actually sew the top and bottom of your project onto the frame. So it's a bit difficult to all the time be taking things off and on again. So basically, this is on there right until the end now. This is it. Like, this is going to have to get finished before I can put anything else on there. Once I've done that, I might have a look at trying to convert it to, maybe I can like glue some Velcro onto these canvas bits, or I can get some clips for it, because that might make it easier, because I do like to use scroll frames for the kind of more involved projects, or projects on things that aren't Ada, so like even weaving linen. With Ada I tend to just stitch in hand because it's stiff enough, and I like that I can change projects easily. I can just roll it up, unroll it, see the whole thing. And it doesn't make any difference to my tension, or at least I don't think, because the Ada is quite stiff. But for things like this, it is quite nice. I find it a bit easier to stitch having the frame. So given that there's a few that I want to do that are quite involved and complex in the future, and I'll get into that in a moment because it's making me super excited. There we go. We haven't got any less awkward in talking since last time, really. But you know, eventually I'll get over the fact that I'm essentially talking to myself in my room. But then this is also kind of how I talk in real life, unless I'm talking about something really nerdy like Viking textiles or something, in which case I just somehow seem to forget about being nervous and come across extremely knowledgeable, or at least so some people have told me, but I'm not entirely sure I believe that. Anyway, this is Celtic Autumn. I'll raise up just a little bit so you can see the whole thing, because I have actually made some solid progress. I was working on this today, and I'm going to carry on working on it a little more because I want to finish just the edging of her dress down the bottom here before I move on. But there is now, like, I've finished this entire part of her skirt, which is awesome. She has a little shoe, she can walk now. That's always helpful. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And she's really sparkly. I mean, you probably can't see that well, but she's got petite treasure braid in here, which I love. Although I'm not sure if I've done the wrong thing, because I'd never used it before. when I started this, and I just used one strand, and I don't know if you were meant to use two and if that would make it stand out more, but I don't know. I mean, I think it looks fine as it is, and I want to go with consistency, so I'm going to do that throughout the whole thing. But yeah, let me know if I'm doing it wrong, I guess. But I think it looks good. Yeah, really enjoying that one now. I don't know why I stopped working on it for so many years, but yeah, who knows. So I'm going to continue on that one a little bit longer, and I've got most of her face and her torso done. I've got the autumn banner across the top done, so it's really just this massive, absolutely massive skirt that she's got on that I am quite jealous of. So, on to new starts. There have been quite a lot, putting it mildly, which is great because variety of things, you know, and also distracting myself from everything, you know, just everything that's happening. It's quite nice to have a distraction from that. And also, you know, having no social life at the moment. Not that I had a massive one before, but, you know, I was getting there, and now I'm not. In fact, actively going backwards, but you know, it's easier because I have a really nice hobby that I enjoy. So this is a pattern I got off Etsy. It's a bookmark I'm making for my friend who lives quite far away, but I thought perforated paper would be really good for bookmarks and that sort of thing because it's a bit more substantial. So the pattern's called Colourful Cat. I'll put a picture of it in here. And I'm really enjoying it. It's quite a simple one after, you know, some of the other things I've been doing because it's sort of blocks of colour. It's really colourful, it's really bright and cheery. Yeah, they're really nice. Fairly easy one to work on. This is my most recent new start, and I have not been able to put it down because I just discovered these, and there's a set of 3, and I want to do all 3 eventually, but I didn't want to get them all at once because, you know, it's a bit pricey too, and I felt like this is where I felt like I should start cutting down on things, you know. But I will eventually, or at least I hope to. And this is Bringer of Stars, art by Amanda Clark and charted by RTO. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, even this preview doesn't do it justice because it has loads of metallic in, and the colours are just lovely. I love this owl. It looks very, you know, very wise and mysterious. I like this forest in the background. This tree is amazing. So, yeah. And this is how far I got. And it's not upside down for once. There we go. So I put this on my Instagram too. But I am in love with this tree. It's so cool. It's very sparkly. There we go. A lot of metallics. These are DMC metallics, which also it is the first time I've used them, and I absolutely despise it. I'm not gonna lie. They are not fun. But they do look good. At least, and they came in the kit and I don't want to waste them, so I'm using them, which I may come to regret, but no, they do look great. They're just really kind of stiff and horrible to use, but it's not really a big deal. I mean, there's not too much of it. There's a bit. but there's not too much. So that's fine. And I backstitched the moon because I wanted to have the moon looking out at me, and there's the start of these trees here, the top of the heart. So I got quite a lot done on that by my standards. And I am absolutely loving it. And I got this kit from Arts and Designs, which is a great cross stitch and craft online shop. And they have a few things I've not really seen anywhere else. Keeping on the RTO theme, I've seen this one in a couple of places and I absolutely loved it, and I had to try and get it. So I did. I found it at a very reasonable price on eBay, and it is the Red Mermaid, also by RTO. And I just love her so much. She's amazing. She's gorgeous. I want to be her best friend and lure men onto the rocks together with us singing. She's so cool. I love her red hair. She just looks like a Renaissance painting. Yeah. I'm really excited to see how it looks in real life. Like actually in my hands. However, that might be a while in coming because this is my lot so far. And I think it looks beautiful. I started in the middle and I just worked my way up to her face. Her nose. I've not done any of the back stitching yet, so it looks a little bit weird around here. But as soon as I can, as I've done some more around here, I will back stitch her face. Although I did kind of mess things up around here, and I kind of put it down a bit while I figure out whether I want to remove like a lot of this or not. I mean, I know it's not that much, but I mean, do not underestimate how fundamentally lazy I am when it comes to this stuff. So I will get back to that eventually because she's beautiful and I love her and I want to finish her. But I have been getting distracted by other things recently. For example, I've been trying to make fabric from nettles because that's a thing that people used to do. And nettles are one of my favourite plants because they're just so useful, and it makes me slightly sad that they're considered this horrible weed because, yeah, they do sting you, but they're really good for you. You can make nettle soup, nettle tea. They're really iron rich, and yeah, they're just really healthy for you. You can make fabric out of them. You can make cordage. There's like so much you can do with a humble nettle. So that's actually going all right. I mean, check out my Instagram if you want to see some more steps at that, because I've got to the point where I'm starting to extract the fibres from the nettle itself that I gathered back a couple months ago. But that's kind of a, daytime outdoor thing. And I do have other things to do. So this one is a Riolus. This is my first Riolus kit. And I am definitely a convert. They have a lot of designs that I really like, and I really like the woolen threads. So this is Lady with a Fan from the painting by Gustav Klimt. I love Klimt's artwork. It's just it's very different and very striking and colourful. And yeah, it's a nice little reminder because I used to live in Vienna. I worked for a while teaching English as a foreign language. And that was really fun. It was totally exhausting because I did my teacher training in Austria. And so for the whole time that I was living in Vienna, I didn't have a lot of time to enjoy it because I was just exhausted all the time from getting up at stupid o'clock to go to different schools. And then doing assignments in the evening. But when we did get the chance to go out and have a bit of fun, yeah, I would. And Vienna's quite proud of Klimt, as you might expect. So there were representations of paintings everywhere. But I also loved, I really like the ethos of the art that was going on at that time. Like, I visited a few of the Hundertwasser buildings as well, and that if you've not heard of him, definitely go Google him, like now, Hundertwasser. He's this architect, like in the same kind of style as Klimt, that kind of almost surrealist but really colourful style, and the buildings are great. I mean, it's a bit like Gaudi. There's these buildings. He did this apartment building, which is all like with strange shapes and mirrored bits, and like it's so cool. And he also, I think he designed the Kunsthaus, the art museum in Vienna, and that's all, really exciting. So, all of those things kind of mean that when I saw this, I was like, yep, that's happening. I wasn't actually looking for this one. I was looking for the one that I'll show you in a second. But I also saw this one and I was like, okay, that's happening. We're getting this one. She's beautiful. And so this is my start on her. I've started with the fan, and I'm kind of trying to complete that, but I want to go up to her face as well if I can, because I like to get the faces in first. So looking out at me. That's really fun. I like these woolen threads. They give a lot of coverage and a lot of texture as well. I think I'm sort of getting the hang of it. I mean, they're not as neat as my stitches with cotton, but I think I'm starting to get there, to get the hang of working with the stuff. And I love the colours. The colours are just so saturated in wool. I mean, I love working with wool anyway. I also spin and I knit, and I work with wool from fleece to the knitting or weaving part of the process. And that's what I do, partly what I do in my job as a community textile facilitator. So yeah, we'll be hopefully going back to that one quite soon. Sorry, this isn't that exciting as I have a lot of starts and not very much progress or finishing. But hey, I hope you're enjoying the variety. So I think we're on to my last start actually, which is another Riolus. And this is the one I was actually looking for because I'd seen it on a couple places elsewhere, and I was like, I absolutely love that. This is the Underwater Kingdom by Riolus, and it's the first one of theirs that I saw, and I was like, I've got to do that. Like, I love octopuses, and the colours in this are just fantastic. I love working on things that have bright colours. Yeah, it makes me think of, like, I don't know, he's taken over this sunken ship and just having a good old time down there, which honestly I'm slightly jealous of this octopus at the moment. You know, I wish I was underwater having fun and not having to watch the news. So I did not get very much done on this at all. I kind of started it on a whim because I'm kind of incapable of having stuff in my stash and then not starting it. Like, I can't wait. And it's basically the same, right? You know, having something is basically the same as having it as a WIP because, you know, you've got it anyway. So what does it matter if you're working on it? It's basically the same. That's what I tell myself. Anyway, But I was kind of saving this one as okay, I'll start this if I've had a bad day or something, it will cheer me up. And then I ended up doing that. So I haven't got very far. I doubt that I'm going to get very far on this for a while, but that's where it is for now. I've got a little bit of this tentacle in. It just is going to be a bit weird stitching tentacles, but given the associations that can be had with them, it probably doesn't surprise you to learn that I play D&D, and my D&D group likes to make a euphemism out of everything, so I have not told them that I'm working on this. But yeah, I love it nonetheless, and I just look at these colours. They're so deep. Don't mind me, I'm just going into paroxysms about colourful threads. Now then, that brings me to things that I have bought, which is basically everything you just saw. However, I do have a few charts that I've bought that I'm planning to start in the future, but these are all kind of things that I am going to need a while to kit up because they're going to be quite pricey to do, and I can't do it all at once. So I'm just going to do it slowly over some time and just gradually get all the stuff that I need. So the first one is a designer that was totally not on my radar at all until I discovered them. I can't remember how. I don't think it was through Flosstube. I think it was through, I don't know, Instagram or seeing one of the projects. Anyway, I absolutely love basically almost everything. Like, not all of them are things that I would stitch, but I just love the aesthetic of her designs. She's a French designer from Brittany, and it's Nimue Designs. I think it's pronounced Nimue. But she does a lot of Arthurian stuff and things based on folk tales. And that is my jam, absolutely. So I got La Reine des Fées, the Queen of the Fairies. And the reason I love this so much is firstly because of these colours, just the play of light here. It looks like she's being lit by a lantern or something, with the light falling on her here and then fading into the background. I think that's really inspired, and it just looks amazing. And then secondly, she's not a nice, cute, sweet fairy. And given that I read a lot of folklore and I tell stories as well, and, you know, fairies in a lot of actual folklore are not nice beings. And this fairy queen definitely looks as though she's about to pull some tricks. And I love this dagger that she's got in her hand and her expression. Like, she looks so tricksy and mysterious and dangerous. And this little fairy on her shoulder, who's got this very cunning expression. I absolutely just love this whole design. I have ordered some fabric for her. If you're interested in these kinds of fairies, then I would definitely recommend the book Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. It's a fantastic book about magic and fairies, but also kind of about Regency politics. It's set in the Regency period in England, which is, you know, also where Jane Austen's works are set. So it's kind of like Pride and Prejudice, but with nasty fairies, I guess. Which doesn't even come close to describing it, but it's just incredible. It's set in this parallel world, of the Regency period in England, where magic and fairies once existed, but it's all kind of ancient history now, and then they come back, and that's where I'll leave it. Go look that one up, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Anyway, she's beautiful. I've got fabric for her that should be arriving soon, that I got from the Crafty Kitten, who's a UK hand dyer, and I didn't go for the red. This is my first kind of big change for something, and I'm quite nervous about it, but I didn't go for the red. I went for this dark mottled green because I want it to look like she's deep in the forest. So I'm so excited to finally start that, but I want to finish my Celtic Autumn first, and I reckon that's doable because she's a lot of her's done. So yeah, that is definitely happening. What hopefully will be happening at some point, but probably not for a long time because it's the freaking chatelaine and, you know, those take a while to kit up, is I kind of figuring out this overhead shot thing, because now that I've come to the end of things that I can show, if I take them off, then it will be just me talking and this blank part of my table, which is kind of boring to watch. So I don't know, I'll just bring her back. So yeah, I got Alhambra Garden by Chatelaine, and I'll put the image in here. I mean, it's incredible. I've been looking at chatelaines for years and years and just wishing that I had the chance to do them, but not having the skills or the money, or like not really stitching at the time. And I finally just thought, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. So I got the pattern, and I'm going to slowly kit up the materials, just, you know, however long it takes me to be able to afford to get them all. That will be fine, because I enjoy the process of kitting things up and collecting the stuff as well. But, you know, it's going to happen. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do Alhambra Garden, because I have always wanted to visit the Alhambra Palace. I studied the history of Spain at university a little bit, and the history of the Muslim dynasties in Spain, and I found it really fascinating. The history of like North African in Spain. So I would love to visit the Alhambra one day. My granddad did. My granddad was this amazing dude who, when he retired, just decided to start traveling the world and kept doing it until he was in his 80s. So I want to visit a few of the places that he did, and he showed me his pictures of the Alhambra, and it looks so beautiful. So I've been wanting to go there since I was about 8 years old, and I will one day, but in the meantime, I can stitch it. But that was before I found out, because you kind of don't fall in love with chatelaine patterns until you see them stitched, right? And then I saw the mushroom and fern mandala and the pomerium. Now, the pomerium is kind of special resemblance to me, because I think I mentioned in my last video the connection that my family has with apples. Just, it's so beautiful and it's so relevant, and I want to make it for my mum because she would love it so much. And yeah, and she knows like basically every kind of apple there is, and she grows at least like 8 of them. So yeah, it would be perfect to give to her, and I would enjoy stitching it so much. So I'm thinking about those two as well. So we'll see. And then I got a couple of digital patterns from my bobbin.com, and I will show them here. The first one is Rainbow Tree. And then I got this wolf one. And this one, which I think is called something like Peacock Atelier or something. And so those, you know, I don't want to forget about those because they're digital. I will do them at some point. They're not too big and I really like them. And yeah, I'll get to that sometime. But that is what I bought in the last month or so. Although I know that I got this before and the other kits and stuff before, but it's been a while since my last Flosstube. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the things that I've been working on. And I have really been enjoying watching Flosstube while I've been stitching and knitting and doing various other things. I like seeing people's different personalities and what they're working on. Thank you for doing that, I guess. There you can see the book pile that I had my tripod on. I'll see you next time.